Makes sense. He's a billionaire from New York, no less. And everything he sits on is gold. How could he possibly connect with the common man? And yet he keeps winning more of them. Trump got trounced by black voters in 2016, so he brought in some muscle from the West Coast, someone he knows black men love, Kim Kardashian. Democrats used to own Silicon Valley, those California do-gooder liberals who wanted to save the planet. Yeah, right. Trump came along and said, regulations? We don't need no stinking regulations. Not only did he win them over, in his second inauguration, they were all sitting up on the stage with him. There was an entire section that looked like the full range of the autism spectrum. It's by a coalition of little things that hit people personally. Trump gets this. He feels your pain in the ass. Kamala ran on democracy, which is the most important issue. But without the political skill to sell it, it added up to nothing. Meanwhile, Trump was running on, I'll make the poop go down.
Imagine losing an election and still knowing exactly why you'll win next time. That's Donald Trump. Now, contrast that with the Democrats. Stuck, stubborn, and seemingly clueless. Bill Maher just called them out on live TV, and it's brutal. He doesn't hold back, and some of what he says will shock you. Smash that subscribe button, because you'll want to hear this entire breakdown. Trust me, it gets wild.
Never forgets. It's only hypocrisy if you had other beliefs to begin with. In his first term, he signed an executive order banning TikTok and then got trounced by young voters. So in 24, he campaigned on saving it. And apparently every Tide Pod eater responded because his youth vote was up 21%. In his first term, he called cryptocurrency not money and based on thin air and said it seems like a scam. And who better to know a scam? Well, that was then. Now he's on more coins than Julius Caesar.
Maher says Trump learned from 2020. He reassessed, recalibrated, and spoke to voters in a way that actually worked. He noticed what failed, adjusted his messaging, and came back stronger. Democrats? They doubled down on the same policies and cultural battles voters already rejected. Woke politics, alienated moderates, lost elections. It's a pattern, not a coincidence. And if this continues, Maher warns it could cost them even bigger losses in the future.
Democrats used to own Silicon Valley, those California do-gooder liberals who wanted to save the planet. Yeah, right. Trump came along and said, regulations? We don't need no stinking regulations. Not only did he win them over, in his second inauguration, they were all sitting up on the stage with him. There was an entire section that looked like the full range of the autism spectrum.
Remember when Silicon Valley seemed to love Democrats? Not anymore. Maher points out that tech elites once championed progressive causes, Elon Musk, Tim Cook, the whole lot. But then Democrats leaned too far into woke ideology. Suddenly, moderates and independents felt left out, and elections started slipping away. It's a classic case of messaging gone too ideological. Maher's warning: stray too far from the center, and the political consequences hit fast.
Could I actually make it snow more? No, but elections are won on the margins by a coalition of little things that hit people personally. Trump gets this. He feels your pain in the ass. Kamala ran on democracy, which is the most important issue. But without the political skill to sell it, it added up to nothing. Meanwhile, Trump was running on, I'll make the poop go down. He never shut up about bad shower pressure, shitty light bulbs, and low-flow toilets.
Here's another Maher hot take. Having the right ideas isn't enough. Democrats assume voters will automatically get it. But politics doesn't work that way. Republicans simplify, repeat, and connect to everyday concerns. Democrats? Sometimes they lecture, using jargon or long explanations, and voters tune out. Winning hearts and votes isn't about being smart. It's about being relatable. And right now, Maher thinks Democrats are failing that test.
Exactly, ask not what your country can do for you, but for some little niche group, It was all that mattered. He's right. It shouldn't take 2 flushes to make my shit go away. That's my guy, YMCA. People say, it doesn't make sense. He's a billionaire, from New York no less, and everything he sits on is gold. How could he possibly connect with the common man? And yet he keeps winning more of them. Trump got trounced by black voters in 2016, so he brought in some muscle from the West Coast, someone he knows black men love, Kim Kardashian.
Influence matters. Maher highlights missed opportunities to partner with powerful cultural figures who could expand the Democrats' reach. Politics isn't just about policy. It's about who can amplify your message. Trump played this game smartly, tapping people with massive influence, even outside traditional politics. Maher cites Kim Kardashian's role in criminal justice reform. Millions listened, got engaged, and cared. Democrats? Too picky, too rigid, and often miss these pragmatic chances.
STEP Act, which scaled back restrictions on felons, a connection he built on in 2024 by becoming one. And then he pardoned Lil Wayne, and pardoned Kodak Black, and the CEO of Jay-Z's company, and the founder of Death Row Records, and the former mayor of Detroit. So it's not surprising that Kanye, and Wayne, and Chris Brown, and Amber Rose, and Snoop, and DaBaby all talked him up. That last one out of professional courtesy.
Trump also reached out to influential voices in black communities, a move Maher says is underrated. He didn't assume they'd reject him. He persuaded, invited, and listened. These allies carried the message to grassroots audiences, where influence truly counts. Democrats, by contrast, often close doors and dismiss critics who don't fully align with the party. Maher says this rigidity is one reason the GOP can quietly grow its base while Democrats lose momentum.
Did he win the black vote? Not even close. But he doubled what he got in 2020, and in places like Philly, Detroit, and Milwaukee, that was the difference. And now he's going to do it with pot. Finally, he got around him.
At its core, Maher argues Trump connects with real-life concerns. Jobs, costs, safety, healthcare, issues Americans think about at their kitchen tables. These are problems voters feel are ignored by Washington. Democrats? Stuck on cultural debates and woke ideals. Maher warns that while ideology feels important to them, voters care more about solutions they can see and feel. And that disconnect is why elections are slipping through their fingers.
It's a very key appointment in the most important city in the country, which is also our financial center. It matters that the mayor stands by, and I assume stands with, someone who says things like, if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize private property, it's over. Seize private property. Home ownership is racist. Elect more communists.
Maher raises another danger: socialism creeping into democratic politics. He cites figures like Zohran Mamdani gaining traction in New York. Progressive activists celebrate, but most Americans prefer capitalism with practical reforms. Push too far, and you alienate the very voters you need. Maher even points out that Americans tend to respond negatively when parties appear disconnected from everyday economic realities. And that could be a huge problem in upcoming elections.
Seize private property. Home ownership is racist. Elect more communists. Private property, especially home ownership, is a weapon of white supremacy. Really? Even among the 20 million black Americans who own their own home? I mean, these are the kind of utterances I might forgive as something a dumb white girl said while she was at Bryn Mawr. Because it's the kind of privilege hating you can only learn for $95,000 a year. But these are statements made as an adult. Yes, for co-eds from elite private colleges, you're only a lesbian until graduation, but the communism lasts a lifetime.
The bigger picture? Focus on what voters truly care about: education, economy, safety. Maher stresses practical solutions over ideology. Better schools, stable jobs, secure communities. These win elections. Free programs and flashy promises? Often they backfire, costing trust, credibility, and support. Maher reminds Democrats, people want policies that improve their lives, not just policies that sound good on paper.
Democrats seem to be having this debate whether or not Mayor Mamdani is a socialist or a democratic socialist. Let me settle it. He's a straight-up communist. How do I know this? Well, I'm reading between the lines when one of his major advisors says, elect more communists.
Bottom line, Trump wins because he connects with everyday Americans and builds coalitions pragmatically. Democrats risk losing relevance by doubling down on woke policies, ignoring kitchen table concerns, and drifting toward socialism. Maher's message is clear: refocus on the economy, security, and education, or risk being left behind. Hit like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe, because the next election could shock you, and you'll want to be ready for what comes next.